Hi guys, happy Monday. I hope everyone's doing well and recovering from a wonderful weekend. We had beautiful weather here in New York. If you are signing on for the first time, we are all sheltering at home. The company is based out of Long Island, New York. So Jen, who usually does Facebook Lives with me in the office, is at home, and I'm coming to you from my home studio on Long Island. We are sheltering in place and staying healthy and doing everything that we possibly could do. We are doing a lot of stamping it forward. So today, it's going to be a fun week. Big week, fun week. Today, we are going over scratch protected sheets, okay? That you can put on your block. And I'm also going to tell you why I put multiple of them on my block. So we're going to go over bracelets, stamping a message on the inside and the outside using the scratch protector sheets. We're also going to go over gauges and what is good to stamp on both sides, what metals are good to stamp on both sides. So again, if you just signed on, we had a lot of questions about using Stargazer. So I'm gonna, whatever I use today is gonna be with the Stargazer font. I'm gonna show you how to tap it lightly to get that nice, clean, and crisp line. We're gonna go into scratch protector pads, stamping on both the front and the back of pendants. I'm gonna use some alchemy today and some aluminum. All right, guys, so with further ado, I'm gonna take you over to my block and we're gonna start working. Okay, so these are our scratch protector sheets, okay? They're stickers, just like our sticker guides. And I like to use 4 of them here. So for anyone, let's see, for anyone who likes to do multiples. So when I do a bulk order for a wholesale order that I have, or somebody orders 5, 6 bracelets, or I'm just pre-stamping before I do a show, I always like to put 4 scratch protecting sheets on my block because I always work in multiples. Any of you out there work with multiples? Do you do big batch orders? Anyone? All right, so I suggest putting 4 of these scratch protector sheets on your blocks. Now, these are perfect. They fit on the small block perfectly. I have the larger block, so I like to put 4 on them. All right, so I'm just lining them up on my block, just like that. Okay. All right, so today we're going to talk about using the scratch protector sheets, stamping on both sides. So now this is alchemy. This is 18 gauge, okay? Now, a lot of metals, we sell 18 and up, okay? I believe the 24 gauge that we sell are on closeout. Stamping on both sides with 24 gauge is basically nearly impossible. You're gonna get that marring in the back. You get a wonky look. Your disc will start to ripple on the ends. It's better to stamp with a heavier gauge metal. And with that being said, everybody's worried about punching their holes. This is what you're going to use. You're going to use a screw hole punch to put your hole in any of your thick gauge metals. But your thicker gauge metals work really nicely because they aren't flimsy around the neck, meaning they don't stick to one side up high. The weight it holds on a necklace piece much nicer. Okay, and it's much easier to stamp on a thicker gauge than it is to stamp on the 24. So if you are stamping on the 24 and your enamel is not staying in your impression, it's because your gauge is a little too thin and you're not forging. There's not enough metal on your disc to forge that impression correctly. Okay, so I'm going to work with an 18 gauge. This is 18 gauge aluminum. Alchemy, I'm sorry. So alchemy is our tin-based alloy. It's very similar to pewter, has a lot of its same characteristics. It won't tarnish. It won't turn you green. It keeps it shine. And I like to say that it's a sterling silver alternative. It's got a very low melting point, so you don't want to take a torch to this and you don't want to solder it. but it maintains its shine and its beauty even wearing it in the water, which we don't suggest wearing stamped jewelry in the water, but if you have to get it wet or you do get it wet, that's okay. All right, so I am going to pull out my sticker guides. So I am going to stamp around a curve. So the sticker guides I'm going to be using today are the stamp guides, okay? And with my 3/8 sticker, I'm just going to put that on the bottom of my disc, right in the below the bottom. Okay, I'm working with a small font. The font that I'm working with is a 3mm, actually 2mm Stargazer. So I'm going to work with uppercase. Just like that. Okay, and with this, I want to stamp a name on the bottom. And I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do numbers on the other side. And we got a question about the willow numbers. So the willow numbers are a 3mm font. I'm going to show you how to use those on the opposite side, the back side of this disc. Okay. So now Stargazer is part of our signature series. Okay, and the signature series are rated for stainless, and you can see how clean and crisp those stamps are. Okay, now you don't have to hit these so hard. We did a bracelet, and people are asking how the lines came so thin. So I'm going to show you if I strike it softly as opposed to striking it with a little bit more force, what your letter will look like. Okay, obviously if you hit it harder, your impression is going to spread out more. So I'm going to do, let's just do love, okay, for now on this disc. I stump myself. I always tell people, oh, make sure that you think about what you want to put on your disc, and then here I am. So with the sticker guides that go across, okay, we're dragging these right here. We drag our stamp down. We're not going to drag our stamp down with this. We're going to drag our stamp up. Okay, so we're going to make sure that the ImpressArt is facing you. You're going to bring this down. Just tilt the camera a little bit so you can see better. I'm going to place it down. And what I like to do is I like to twist my block. So I make sure that still my ImpressArt's facing out, but I could actually see where I'm lining up my letter. So I'm placing it down lightly dragging it up. Once I feel that restriction, I'm going to give it a little tap. Now I'm going to bring this back down so you can see how lightly I go with it. Okay. Now I hit it that lightly because I want it to be nice, clean, and crisp. Okay. If I take just a scrap piece and I hit it harder, you're going to see that it leaves it a little on the, I like to call it chubby, a little on the chubby side. As opposed to hitting it lightly, you get that nice, clean, and crisp impression. So with these signature stamps, they are rated for steel, okay? So I think that hitting them lightly when you're working on a aluminum or an alchemy or a pewter just makes it look a little bit nicer. Again, it's personal preference. I'm just showing you how I tap my stamps, how thin those lines come out. Okay, so I'm going to move to my O. And again, I'm going to turn my block. I'm going to make sure the ImpressArt is facing out. I'm going to line my O up. Give it a tap. I'm going to bring my V, that's a U, in the V spot. Notorious for doing that. Line that up. Give it a tap. And then my E. Okay. So you're going to see that I am nice and evenly spaced around the bottom of my disc. All right, and then I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to show you that there is little to no marring, see, on the back of that. Do you see how you don't have any of those weird, let me see if I have any of them here. Let me grab another block. Can I grab another block? I don't have one handy, but you know what? Let's take off this piece so I can show you the difference. Take off my bottom. So if I'm stamping without it, let's go through it really quick. So when I'm stamping around my disc without it, do you see that marring on the bottom? I don't know if you guys could see that, as opposed to nothing here. Okay. So then I'm going to pull my sticker off. Okay. Going to take my enamel marker. I'm just using a regular household paper towel. Okay, nothing's on it. It's not wet. There's no alcohol on it. Just a regular household paper towel. And I always like to say, I make it messy and then lightly wipe. Okay, so you could see how nice and thin my letters are on that. Okay. When we were talking about hitting it harder to change the look of your letter, like before, this is the same L, just one is stamped heavier than the other. Okay? So then I'm going to flip it around. Oops. I'm going to flip that around. I am going to put my dot right here for my hole. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do my, let's see, did I flip it over right? I'm going to put my date right on the, along the side. So I could still reuse my sticker. Okay, now I'm going to leave a little bit more room because it's a 3mm font like I did before. And I'm going to do 6, 30, let's see, 09. Okay, so I'm going to bring it sideways. I'm going to open my heartbreaker. And this is a 3mm. I'm going to tape it down to my block again, and I'm going to come in, making sure that my ImpressArt's facing me. And remember, guys, turn your block. Turn your block so you could see. Place it down, lightly drag that up, give it a nice hit. Now, I have to make a confession. I tend to use heartbreaker numbers a lot. It's just because I love the way they look. And again, these are signature also. If you don't have the set that's coated, that has a coating on them, just like this, these are not coated. These are they're rated for stainless. Okay, so that's the heartbreaker that I'm using. So again, I'm going to turn and just take a look. I'm going to move my sticker a little over. That's the greatest thing about these stickers. You can move them if you see that you don't have enough room. And guys, remember, our number sets, they don't come with a 9. The 9 is going to be your 6. So when you're stamping a 6, it's going to be facing you. When you're not stamping a 6, it's going to be stamped away from you, okay? So I want this to be a 9. So I'm going to pull that off. And there are my numbers. I'm going to come back in and let's see if I could find my, I always have my 2mm Whimsy Heart. So this comes in either, let me see if I could get that a little bit focused for you guys. Okay, that Whimsy Heart, just like that. This is a design stamp and it's sold separately or it's sold in a pack of 3. This never leaves. This is a staple on my block. It never leaves my block. The reason why I love this size is sometimes I use this instead of a period. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to come in right between, give it a light tap. So I have hearts in the middle of my date. Okay. So then I'm going to take my enamel marker, color this in, let it sit for a couple of minutes. Again, really just dry household paper towel. You're going to dab it, lightly wipe. Okay, and that is my number. Okay, and then if I flip it over, you could see you don't see any marring on there. So that is how you stamp on both sides of a pendant. You definitely want to put your scratch protector sheets on your block, and they really are great. So let's see. I'm going to poke that hole in. I'm going to follow the line here. Just like that, okay? And then I'm gonna come in with my polishing block. And I'm gonna hit it a few times. I want you guys to see the difference between that. Do you see that? And you're just going to polish it right up. Does everybody see that? The difference? Okay, so that's stamping on both sides. Melinda, let's see. Can you use the hole punch for all gauges? Yes, Melinda. You can use this from 24 and thinner all the way up to, I want to say, 12. The 12 gauge. Now, keep in mind that your bracelet blanks are 14. So you could definitely use this on a thicker than bracelet blanks. All right. So here we go. All right, so we're going to do a bracelet. Okay, so this is the big debate. You can leave your blue protectant sheets. When you get these, they're coated. They're coated with a blue kind of a sticker, transparent. The blue coating is to protect it in transit so they don't scratch together, okay? So some people like to leave the blue on to reduce the marring. Listen, leave it on. You could still use your scratch protector. It's not going to hurt, okay? So I'm going to turn my block into a diamond pattern and I'm going to put my scratch protectors back on there. All right. Okay, so I am going to put my bracelet on my block. So now I'm using my bracelet sticker guide. Okay. And I'm going to find my center. Now with these sticker guides, you always want to make sure when you're using 1/4 inch, see that blue line that's going right through it? You're going to make sure that that meets up with the end of your bracelet. Okay? The reason why you want that to meet up with the end of your bracelet is because not only is your spacing going to be perfect, but you are also going to be stamping in the center of that bracelet. I'm going to do it, Brenda. I'm going to do what I do every day. I'm going to eat, sleep, and stamp, and then I'm going to put your name inside, okay? So I'm going to start. What you want to do is you want to write your quote out on your bracelet. And remember, I'm using aluminum. It's food grade aluminum. So I am not going to hit this too hard with these stamps because these stamps are sharp. So they are nice and thin. So eat, sleep, stamp, repeat. Okay, so again, I'm going to make sure that my ImpressArt is facing me. So I'm going to bring that down, lightly drag it. I'm going to give it, let me flip that back a little bit. Whoop. I'm going to give it a very light hit. And you're going to see that it's very thin. Take my tea. Now, if you're having a problem that when you're bringing down the letter, okay, when you're bringing down your letter and you're going over your sticker, is anyone having that happen? That you're going over your sticker? Definitely lay it down flat. If you feel that you're going over your sticker, just tilt it a little bit towards you, very tiny bit, and you will catch the sticker with the end of your stamp, okay? So I am using Stargazer. Stargazer is a 2mm font. It is my favorite. I know it's been a fan favorite of a couple of you beautiful ladies as well. And see, I'm just hitting it slightly. I'm not overdoing it. So I have my eat, sleep, stamp, repeat. What do you think, guys? So see how when you line up that blue line to the bottom, if you're just tuning in, always make sure with the 1/4 inch that you're lining that blue line that runs across the top to the bottom. Line that up to the bottom of your bracelet. That's going to make sure that you're stamping right in the center. So I'm going to take my enamel marker. Actually, I'm not going to do that yet. Let me, you know how I love my period stamp. Let's see if I could take that. I'm going to put it right in the center. And I am going to dab it and lightly wipe. Now, if your enamel isn't staying in your impressions, it's when you're wiping it off too quickly and too aggressively, or your impressions are not deep enough. So now we have eat, sleep, stamp, repeat, okay? And you could go back, like you see that it's missing some in the R. Come back in, fill that right in, and lightly wipe. And you could see, you keep on doing it. All right, so we're gonna take the plastic off the back. Okay, and you're gonna see there's very limited marring on there. And I'm gonna show you, if you have those bumps, usually after you bend it, you won't see those anymore. Marring on a bracelet without any kind of protection on your block or on the back of your bracelet is really going to show through. It's going to be you'll see the letter, the back side of the letter, and it'll have white marks around, sort of like it fractures the metal. Okay, so this is going to be in the front, and I am now going to flip this over, and I'm going to put Brenda's name in the back. And now I have a lot of space left on my sticker. Guys, all you have to do is just tear it a little bit, okay? Or you could even use a full sticker. And I am going to put that on there, just like that. And remember, you want to make sure that that blue line is meeting up with the edge of your metal here and the edge of your metal there. Okay, so I'm going to do Brenda. B-R-E-N-D-A. Okay. We also had a question about how to mat a bracelet. Let's see, we're gonna go down, place it flat, lightly drag that, line that R up. Here's your E. Okay, Brenda. So, now I know we have a lot of ladies who do this and either sell it or they just always stamp for their family. I'm going to show you a little something. So I'm just going to definitely color that in. Dab that, lightly wipe it, and there's your name, Brenda. Okay? Now, when you're making something, even if it's for a friend or this is something that you just, you have a love for stamping and you love to create and you always gift your items or you give them to your friends or, doesn't matter unless you could do a custom stamp. ImpressArt does custom stamps. Let me find my actually, I'll show you my big stamp, but I'm going to then stamp it with the ImpressArt. So you could have your maker's mark done. That is a little blurry. I'm going to try to fix that for you guys today. So if you see that says ImpressArt. So I am going to put a maker's mark on the side of that. So every time Brenda looks at her bracelet, she'll think of us at ImpressArt and how we stamped it forward to her. But you could always have something made like this, okay? So this is our custom stamps. And this just happens to be mine, okay? Well, one of mine. I'm spoiled. And it's nice and clean and sharp. And it's nice to mark. This is a little bit big for a bracelet, so you could go with something smaller. It's nice to mark your pieces that you send out. Okay, so that's definitely, right now, there's about a 2 to 4 week wait because you have to work with one of our graphic artists and, you get a proof and it goes back and forth, but just remember, guys, we are sheltering in place here in New York. So if you do, you just got to give us a little bit of patience with that. Hopefully things will get back to business as usual, but we are a little delayed on that right now. So I'm going to use my ImpressArt stamp to stamp inside that bracelet, just to put a maker's mark on that. Okay. I'm going to take that off. What design stamp fits on those bracelets? So you can use, let me show you. Okay. This size font that we use today is the 2mm Stargazer. It's beautiful. It's nice and crisp. So, Carly, what I was talking about is, with this uppercase Stargazer, look at those adorable design stamps that come in it. You can get any 3mm design stamp to fit on this. And let me show you guys some. I'll just pull off another bracelet. Okay. I'm going to stamp these out for you. So in the Stargazer font, of course, there's an ampersand in the uppercase. Then we have a compass. We have the little dipper. We have a planet. This is by far my favorite. We have a little moon, which to me, I put moons in everything, so that is definitely worth it to get that. We have a telescope. And we have a shooting star. But so this is a 2mm design stamp, guys. Again, this is just a regular household paper towel. Lightly dabbing, lightly wiping. And there you go. Look how beautiful and detailed these are. I know I'm getting a little blurry here today. Yeah. I also love the nautical star. I love it. Love them. But they're really pretty. Now, you asked what size. It really depends on your design stamp. So right here, I have just a random 3mm design stamp. So that's the butterfly. And a 4mm design stamp. Let's look to see a 4. So I would say that you could go with a 6 if it was on a 6 shank, but it was, let's see, it was narrow. Do we see this? This is, let me pull this back. So this is the rainbow. Let's see if that works. So yes, so the 6mm, providing it's a narrow stamp, will work. The 1/8" bracelets. Let me get my sticker off this bracelet and then I'll show you really quick. The 1/8" bracelets that we have, this actually came out with, the rings and the bracelets actually came out with this set. So these, the set was designed for these, with these in mind. Okay, let me pull off my stickers. All right. So you could see, I'm not going to put a sticker on it. I'm not going to put a tape. I'm going to do this real quick. So the love does fit on there, okay? So the 1/8" and the 2mm font works very well on it. Let's go back. So now we saw that you have, with the sticker, the protection sheets, you don't have any marring here. You don't have any marring. And there's Brenda. And we have very little here. And I think the reason why we have very little over here is because I think I actually might have a nick in my block. And that is my fault. I was banging away on it this weekend. Okay, so I'm going to bend this for our friend Brenda. So I'm always going to put what I want on the top of my bracelet facing the ceiling. I'm going to firmly place my thumb against it, take the palm of my hand, bring that right over so it looks like a 90-degree angle. Does everybody see that? I'm bringing you right back in, placing your thumb on it, taking the palm of your hand, and then bringing that right over. And that's going to leave you with a flat top look. I personally like it more rounded, so I'm going to come in through the center. And I'm going to give it a squeeze. And do you see how that brings it together? And then I'm just gonna follow the curvature of my nylon jaws all around it. I'm gonna bend in my ends. And then at the end, I just like to give it a little bit of I like to pull it out a little bit. Okay, and that is your bracelet. You could see her name's inside. We have our maker's mark, which is always great. And guys, you could do a maker's mark with anything, even an initial set, a letter set that you have. You could always put a heart and your initials when you're sending it, when you're giving it as a gift. It doesn't have to be so formal as a company name, you know, and if your company name's too long, you could always do, this is another one of mine. Underneath my logo, I have little gems, you know, for little tags on the back. So you have your mark on there. I will go over really quick. I know I did this last week, but this is always a question. When you overbend a bracelet. So to bend the cuff, it's a bracelet bending bar. Okay. You are going to, again, it's very easy. I'm going to tilt this up. It's very easy to overbend a bracelet. I do it constantly. So you always want to make sure that your thumb is firmly against that. You're going to take the palm of your hand and you're going to bring it right over. Okay? Sometimes we overbend. And there's a bump on the back from stamping too hard. How do we smooth it? Nylon hammer. Okay, Kaylee, 1 second. I'll get right back to you with that one. Okay, so we're going to bend that over. And let's say when you're bending the other piece, you're not paying attention and you overbend it too slightly. So you get a bracelet that looks like that. How many of us have overbent a bracelet that looks like that? Anyone? Okay, so this is how you're going to fix it. I like to call it the magic eraser. This tool, this is the Bracelet Bending Plier, is fantastic. You're going to come in, okay, right where you've bent it too much, and I want you to take a firm hold of it, and bend it out. Do you see how it's reforming that metal? Then you're going to come in from the center, give it a squeeze, and then keep on going around. Okay? And it straightens that curve out right away. Let's say you have one, let me really, because I get this one all the time. So what did I do wrong? It's super easy to fix these bracelets. Again, you come back in, you're going to go right next to where you overbent. You're going to bring that right back out, okay? So it looks like that. And then you're going to go in and you're going to form your bracelet again. Now, we could correct, and people always ask that, when are you beyond repair? Well, your beyond repair is when you crack it in half or you stamp incorrectly. So let's say your E's backwards. I can't help you fix that, but definitely with bending your bracelets, this is definitely the best tool to fix it. Okay? Just work with your what you have. Work with squeezing it and bending it and forming it all around. And don't feel like you can't use your hands. Guys, your hands are your perfect tools. While you are squeezing your bracelet, go around it. Okay? And then pull it out a little bit. So that is how you do that. Now, I believe Kaylee just asked, and listen, guys, I do these all the time. Me and Jen both do. We constantly overbend. It happens. It happens. So Kaylee was talking about if you stamp, let's see, I want to just see what okay, there's a bump on the back from stamping too hard. How do we smooth it out? So anytime you have a bump on the back of a bracelet, And let's make a bump on the back of a bracelet. Let's stamp something a little too hard. All right, so let's just, let's stamp. Actually, I'm gonna make sure that there's a bump on the back, and then I'm gonna stamp too close to the ends to show you how to fix that. So I'm really hitting it hard. And I'm gonna actually drop a letter. I'm gonna drop my A off the end. Okay, perfect. So now we have, I did Rita, but I missed it and I totally overstamped these guys. And I also have a stamp that bulged out my bracelet. Does everybody see that? Okay. So what you could do with these, if they're bulging out, you're going to take your nylon head, and I'm also going to show you how to use your chasing head. So first, I'm going to use my nylon head. I'm going to put my nylon head into my multifunction hammer, okay? And I'm going to lightly hit it. Now, what's great about the scratch protecting sheets is you're not going to get any marring on the other side because it's protecting it with these sheets. Okay, so do you see that? So I knock those bumps down, okay? And I have no marring. Now, when it comes to my A, you could do one of two things. You can use your chasing head. Now your chasing head hammer is going to knock that little lip. If everyone sees that little, let me see if I could get that in focus. Okay, that little lip there, that lip of metal. You're gonna take your chasing head and you're gonna knock it into place, okay? Just like that. And here you see, you're gonna have now another lip because the metal that was sticking out of your bracelet is now on the sides of your bracelet. Okay, so this is nice and flat, but on the back side, you have that little lip. Then you could either take your nylon head, if you have this multifunction hammer, and use it, or you could take your coarse side, guys, not your medium. You're gonna take your coarse side of your sanding block and go over it a little bit, very lightly. And then as you're doing it, just run your finger over because you don't want to sand too much. Okay? And that cuts it back. Did everybody see that? This will also, if you have that marring in the back, okay? If you have that marring in the back and it's really bothering you, you're going to take your medium side, not your coarse, your medium side, and you're going to give it a nice matte finish. Okay, does everybody see that? You're going to mat it. Really paying attention to where you have that marring. Then you're going to come back in with your finishing block. Okay, and then you could shine it up again. And that will reduce any kind of scratch or marring that you have on that bracelet. All right, any other questions? So we used Stargazer today. We used the buffing blocks. We used 3mm Heartbreaker numbers. We used the matte block. We used the buffing block with the shine, with the super fine and fine. We stamped up both sides of Alchemy. So we got a lot done today. So we used Stargazer also, which is the 2mm font. If you are having any problems with your products or you are concerned that a technique you wanted to learn a little bit more about it, definitely send us a private message and let us know, and we'll try to cover it here. We are going to add on those crystal rivets probably the end of next week, because I know people are asking for those. So we'll do a little bit of a demo on those. And definitely let us see how you're stamping it forward. Let us see what you're working on. So definitely hashtag us, stamp it forward. We'd love to see what you're doing for people in your community, for your loved ones, random acts of kindness, small things. Walking around your neighborhood at night and putting little encouraging bookmarks or bracelets, or even if you have key rings, you know, anything that you're doing to keep you grounded and keep you connected to your loved ones and community. We would love to see it. And I hope everyone is healthy and safe and crafting. So definitely tag us at Stamp It Forward, hashtag Stamp It Forward, and let us know what you're doing. So we would love to see it. Thanks so much, guys. See you on Wednesday.